It's okay. Calling the Monday, August 15th Broadband Authority meeting to order. If everyone will rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Moment of silence. Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
Motion, do I have a second? Second. Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you. Minutes. Thank you, Margaret.
No one else has any changes. I will move to adopt the minutes.
A second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you, Margaret. I know it's not your highlight of your day. Really appreciate that.
I enjoy hearing all of you twice for every meeting.
All right, moving into public comment. Anyone in the courtroom wishing to speak? Please come up to the mic and give us your name and district. Mark's recording. Margaret's taking notes. Okay. Nobody in the courtroom. Anyone on Zoom wishing to speak, please raise your Zoom hand and be recognized. All right, not seeing any Zoom hands. I will close public comment and move into the Commonwealth Connection website. Mr. Curry, I think you.
This is an item that was on your agenda some time ago, and I think we're all waiting to see when they were going to update to reflect the most recent VATI awards, and that happened. If you go to assets and programs, you can see there's VATI 2021 and then VATI 2022. So if we zoom in on Rappahannock, you see that it mimics the shapefile that was shared in the grant application. Essentially, the only thing that's not shaded is that area that Comcast serves right now. And the critical part of your projects going forward is this fringe and how that's going to be dealt with. And that's where outreach is probably most important. Outreach is important everywhere, but those people that are on that fringe and might have a special construction charge for Comcast need to make sure that they're counted in the future projects. If you haven't explored this document,
could you back up a second?
Yeah.
The special project cost.
I'm sorry, say that again.
The special project cost.
Yes.
From Comcast.
Yes.
There was nothing in the all points thing that addresses there.
There is.
There is.
Yes.
The special construction cost for the Comcast customers.
For anybody.
I think I missed that. When was it added in?
I'm quite sure it's in there. I can go back. I have the final agreement between, and I guess that's kind of further down in the agenda. The final agreement between the state and the regional commission is fairly short, but includes the application as an attachment. So I believe it is in there, and I have underlined all through that document, but I can try to find it for you now if you'd like.
Well, I was in a hurry. I charged up my iPad and left it home. So I don't have, but the last time I looked, that language wasn't in there. And that was one of the complaints we had. That even though that it was, told to us here in this courtroom by Mr. Carter personally, It didn't make it to the version that I was looking at that one night. And I'm pretty sure that's the version that the majority approved. That really does affect my district. There's a lot of people that have been quoted anywhere from 4,000 to 87,000 or 83,000. I'm exaggerating, 83,000.
If I remember correctly, it was anything over their normal rate was, you could submit like I did. Comcast gave us 40 grand to come a quarter of a mile. So when I put in my address, I put that information in on their website. If it wasn't the normal $99 fee or whatever that Comcast normally charges, it's seen as obsessive or something. Forget what the term is.
Comcast goes past your property on the road?
It comes down Bear Wallow and then stops.
Right.
And to go that additional quarter of a mile, they quoted me $40,000.
I'm afraid I'm gonna waste everybody's time if I try to.
Well, that's fine. Maybe we can look for it a little bit later.
I will make a note.
Thank you. Anything else on this agenda item? It's great to have a map that doesn't show us 100% covered. With
Just if you haven't explored this site, it's worthwhile your time. They did include what they think are vertical assets, public available Wi-Fi spots. And then if you come up, you can look at areas that theoretically meet various speeds. So 95% of people in that area have a 1 gig service. So Comcast in these areas is apparently claiming that they can do that. I'm not sure if that's true. Similarly. So 25, maybe CenturyLink is getting in the game.
that's it.
So it's worth poking around and seeing that, but I just wanted to point out to everybody that the body mapping was uploaded, and you can overlay these things. Try to see how they overlay.
Interesting.
So that's linked inside BoardDocs for your future enjoyment.
Thank you for getting that on the website. All right. Anything else in that agenda item? Anybody? Okay. All right. Moving on to the NSVRC All Points Broadband Partnership. This is just the documents are now added to BoardDocs.
You can see that the regional commission all points agreement is the big one. That's the one that has the grant application included as an attachment. The most important thing of anything in these 3 documents is that the execution date of July 22nd, 2022. And it's got a 3-year contract period, which means July 2025 is now the deadline for the VATI program. And within the next several months, we're supposed to be getting a schedule on how that lays out. We did receive some information suggesting first fiber installs in Q2 2023. I'm trying to get some confirmation on that. And that is based on All Points stating that, as they stated when they are with you, they want to have a significant amount of make-ready work done and low levels of design done. So there's a significant pool of work to be done so that when a contractor comes online, they're fully subscribed and tasked and not being tasked to a job and then 5 days later there's no work because design hasn't caught up and the contractor's got to go on off. They want to keep them tasked. Informally, they've told us they will be opening several fronts across the 8-county region. I suspect, but have not been told, that there's a low barrier to entry for us because much of the REC middle mile fiber is done in Rappahannock up to Flint Hill that I'm aware of right now. I don't know if they made it any further yet. So that is helpful. They're not waiting for middle mile fiber that they are relying on in those portions of Rappahannock, while Dominion areas or whatever the other ones are, SVEC, the other cooperatives, I don't think are quite as far ahead in that middle mile fiber deployment. So that would seem to be positive for us. I can pull up any of these agreements if you'd like to look at them in more detail.
Anything anybody wants to?
Well, it did ask, the fiscal agent agreement, if you recall, requires this collection, invoicing, expenses, and payment of the county VAT match. It called out July 1, 2022 as when the counties would be paying that first payment. But all the documents weren't even ready at that time. So I did send an email to Mr. Davis and asked him, when is he expecting those payments, and are we going to get a schedule of requested payments to meet these requirements? And is there going to be some sort of kickoff meeting? I've not heard back from him. But I only asked him that earlier today. So
Oh, would be very interested to see what he has to say. Any questions, comments? All right, we'll move on into the treasurer's report. There was a bill from Ms. Pandek. And then as of today, I was pushing Judy Olson is who did the first draft on the postcard. And given the timeline and what we discussed the last meeting, I basically suggested that she send us what she has done to date. And we'll get back to her later when we're getting closer to a point of actually needing something to mail. So that's why you just got this today.
the invoice for Pandec and Taves it has the old invoice on here as well. That's since been paid. So it's really only $15.45.
Wow, that's the lowest lawyer bill I think that's ever been. No.
It's pretty low.
Well, then I move to authorize payment of expenditures as presented.
Make sure you mark it paid in full.
Yeah.
That's second.
That'll be a second. If you amend your motion.
I will amend my motion. Paid in full.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. All right, we move into the open board discussion.
Well, since the postcard was on the agenda under the bills, I just, I wonder if there's not a way to simplify that. I think it needs to be very clear messaging, sign up now and rates versus, more backstory. And I think simpler would be better. And if there's an opportunity to put it in any other county mailing time and send it rather than mail it as a standalone mailing, I think that would be a good idea. But I had quite a bit of feedback on that design, and I just thought, the message most people need to receive is the pricing and that there's a limited window of opportunity to get the low installation rate. And those should be the headlines. And the action, there should be a call to action now. If you want to secure those rates.
Yeah, I agree.
You made the suggestion by email that the tax bills would make good sense, and I agree. Probably a year from now would be really the time to do it. There is a buck slip in this cycle with fire and rescue, but you can put 2 or 3 in if
It's
it came
still
to it.
plenty, it still would be plenty light to mail with too, and there would be.
Oh, yeah.
So, but I think that would save us some postage and printing costs. And be just as impactful, maybe more so.
And I pulled up on the screen some of the images that All Points included in their application as samples of what they intend to do. And there are several flyers that will go out sequentially during that kickoff period, as well as door hangers and temporary signs. See if we can get our sign ordinance adopted first, and I'll have to put the date on the back. But I think the most critical is that the messaging be aligned in topic and time. So of anything that you put out and All Points is putting out, to avoid confusion and to make sure that we don't have we manage expectations.
Do we have permission to use their graphics?
Or we can ask, but
Yeah.
you know,
Because it would be useful because people need to know it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Like if they get a mailer from us that doesn't have their logo on it, they'll be like, wait, there are 2
Right.
options here.
right.
So as long as we have permission to at least reference them visually, then that would be good.
Yeah, and it is, I guess it is somewhat helpful with the Northern Neck being a year ahead of us, that All Points is kind of has that feedback loop. Whether what they've conceived is the right way to do it is working or not, and that'll be really, they're just jumping into this part now out there.
Yeah, because I agree with Ms. Smith that just simple and really straightforward is the way to do it, really streamline
And
the
making sure
information.
they know it's from us and they know.
Yeah,
that
they know
we're
it's
in
the
the
same
same-
project.
Yep.
And I do like the idea of having a QR code.
Yes.
I don't see that on these materials that
Right.
we furnished, but a QR code to drive them, to the sign up.
Mhm.
And I think both, you need that modern, but you also need a telephone number, because there's people out there that, like,
Mhm.
A, they don't have internet, or B, they don't really know how to make that work, and they want the comfort of just being able to dial 10 digits.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
And I think just like our office is functioning as a liaison with landline companies now, we probably can do some of this. We can work with the library to also assist as with the computers there and whatnot. People can come in and get assistance in filling out the process and making sure that they're signed up.
And it's,
Mr. Carr, when I spoke to him on the Northern Neck, he's basically stated that the messaging shifts over time to like a get ready to it's here to don't miss out. As each one of these different areas is inundated with information to try to drive that message.
Mhm.
and I think the closer we get to it, we can get the businesses of Rappahannock and the library and everybody involved and really try to maybe knock on some doors and have events that get people to come to the library for ice cream and sign up for broadband or whatever, to really make sure that we don't miss.
I didn't recall this many. I guess this is a door hanger.
Yeah. Don't want to miss neighbors that are either out of town or don't necessarily get on the internet or listen to the rap news or any of that good stuff.
And for us, door hangers, it might be a gate hanger. I mean,
Right?
in some cases, or you have a mile-long driveway with a posted sign, they're not going up there.
Yeah.
It's tricky.
Or a locked gate.
Yeah.
Are they going to share with us their promotion / advertising schedule?
Yes, yes. And it's generally laid out in here, but it based on what we heard for the Northern Neck, it varies based on that fiber delivery area, whatever the
Exactly.
FDA stands
So as
for.
we get closer though.
But as each area gets, it will be on its own schedule, which you will be managing the overall schedule and expectations, and then you'll have the kind of the haves and have-nots where, for whatever technical reason, all points will start in a certain area. And then work on that FDA, and somebody on the other side of the county might be 3 years away. Right, or 2 years,
2
whatever,
years,
3-year contract period. So that messaging doesn't make sense the same all across the county. And we'll have to reinforce that.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Communication will be very important. Mr. Fraser, do you have anything on the open board discussion?
Kind of wasting y'all's time because I've been looking for that language that I was pretty sure what I'm in here.
I'm sure Mr. Curry will look for you. Mr. Carney?
no, I think that's a really good thing we just spoke about to keep it in front of our minds moving forward. Just sort of the information, getting it out there and all that.
Yep.
Making sure everybody knows.
And the only thing I had was just a general discussion about, do we want to, because these meetings, it's now a little before 6 and we're at the end of the agenda, would it make sense to, when we have something to discuss, have a meeting, a joint meeting with the Board of Supervisors, so it's on that same day instead of having an entirely separate meeting day until we have more meat to deal with?
I'm absolutely fine with rolling it into our monthly meeting.
The other group's monthly meetings?
The other groups.
The other groups.
So
Whoever those people are.
once things spool up, I believe all points will be delivering quarterly reports. So depending on the content of those reports and if they're heavy or not, this body might decide that
We need a meeting.
you want more public input or something. But I think that quarterly cycle will probably start to fall in as we start ramping up. And then for paying bills, then you will want to be more responsive. So meeting with the board to do that, the Board of Supervisors might make sense then.
We can play it by ear. Each month, I can basically let everybody know what I know of agenda wise, and then we can say whether we want a separate meeting or just joint meeting with the board.
Well, I think that makes good sense for right now. If we don't have invoices to pay, or if the Board of Supervisors can take on that function, or if the board's agenda should become so heavy that we should have to push to a separate meeting, that would be fine too.
Okay, sounds good. That's all I had. Mr. Curry, you're still looking, I assume.
If I could get this off my list before we leave, that'd be
Yeah,
great.
it's fine with me.
Can you not word search it on the document that's on BoardDocs?
I might be able to.
That's too loud.
What's the word that he's searching for?
Yeah.
That always sounds easy, and then it's tricky when you go to.
There
find
was
it.
a word.
What did you say that it was?
Special construction.
Special construction.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's the term that they use.
I don't know if this is an image or a,
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Special construction.
all right, so question 6. Regarding total passing, if applicable, provide the number of passengers per hour. That's special construction for them. There you go.
Is it there?
I think so. So this in the counting of passings
Page 58.
I'm on page 58.
What number?
Page 58, passings of the grant agreement.
Oh, yeah.
The number of structures in the project area that will not require special construction costs to provide service to the passings fall within the broadband provider standard service connection drop length and do not require non-standard equipment or any additional fees above normal service connection fees required to provide broadband access. And that is linked to the area shown served by the incumbent wireline provider. That's supposed to be a count of those overall in the whole region. All of these orange is 40,354.
And ostensibly, there's a data set specifically for our county somewhere,
Possibly.
which is, I mean.
Well, that language would be applicable to all the participating counties.
That's right.
But the thing is, it doesn't say how those that have service available by another provider that is charging the special construction cost.
So this is the listing of this is the listing of the locations that are not included in the body grant.
But that shaded area there that is Comcast, it's a large section of that is Jackson District.
Yeah.
And those people have been quoted average of $4,000, but on up to $83,000. And that's for 0.8 of a mile away. It's $100,000 a mile. $4,000 just to cross the road.
That's not the location that I'm recalling as an attachment to the graphic. So I'll have to.
We asked them specifically about that, and they refused to answer it, and it didn't make it into any of the last agreements that we got the board or the voted.
Well, I recall this coming before me searching and finding. So
I hope
But
so.
are these folks that currently do or do not have Comcast that you're thinking of?
They don't have it. My home falls in that. My personal home falls in that.
Right.
That they came down from their $6,155.57 to like $4,200. But the people across the road that have a school-age child, they quoted them $4,000. They don't have it, so they don't have high-speed internet. They're just, I mean, it's
Have
right
you
along,
entered-
it's
did
right
you-
on B-Town Road.
Did you enter your home address on the
It's
website?
pointless. They're not gonna, I don't want to deal with all points anyway.
Oh.
I'm paying for a service with Comcast, but it's at the rental. Not my dwelling. So, but my property's in the same boat. And
Well,
it's-
have your
it's
neighbor
covered.
under
We had
that.
people here, one gentleman that stood up and spoke in favor of this All Points programs right out there. They quoted him last time I remember, it was like $25,000. And the reason I can't remember his exact figures because it's his figure, not mine.
I remember that.
And it does the same thing to him it does me. It crosses right over our driveways. I mean, at least the power line.
right, the franchise agreement only requires them to extend it 200 feet. So that's nothing out here. Comcast.
Do you want to locate it and
Yeah,
share it with us?
I will. Yeah, I've got it. My follow up.
Thank you.
All right. I'll entertain them.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you.